AI has the potential to revolutionize our world in countless ways, but one undeniable impact is its substantial energy consumption. Generative AI isn't just a product of fleeting inspiration. It harnesses power from thousands of computers housed in data centers worldwide, running continuously at full capacity. According to the International Energy Agency, global electricity demand for data centers is projected more than to double between 2022 and 2026, driven significantly by the demand of AI technologies. The question is, was anyone prepared for this? My name is Britt, and welcome to Eco Resource Care. So there's a major need right now for our grid system to be upgraded because not only are we coming into renewables, but actually we're just using more electricity. This is made clear even by former President Donald Trump recently in an interview. He spoke about the increased needs of electricity all throughout our country.
What they need more than anything else is electricity. They have to have electricity, massive amounts of electricity. I don't know if you know that. In order to do these, essentially it's a plant. And the electricity needs are greater than anything we've ever needed before to do AI.
Insiders in the AI industry argue that the world possesses sufficient energy capacity to accommodate the rising demand, asserting that technological advancements and efficiency could mitigate these increases. However, skeptics question these assurances, expressing concern that the industry's reliance on fossil fuels could undermine global efforts to address climate change. This is how we reach this juncture and what the proliferation of data centers might signify for communities, both locally and globally. When your phone data is backed up to the cloud, it's actually stored in data centers. Enormous facilities, they house thousands of computer servers that operate nonstop. In the age of 5G and cloud-based storage, data centers have become vital components of infrastructure, supporting functions ranging from financial transactions and social media to government operations. These facilities require a consistent and reliable energy supply to function effectively. According to the International Energy Agency, data centers now consume over 1% of global electricity. Before the rise of AI, the number of data centers was already growing significantly. The Bitcoin mining industry notably contributed to this expansion. According to a report from the Energy Information Administration, Bitcoin mining alone accounted for 2% of the nation's total electricity demand in 2023. The tech industry's rapid embrace of AI has dramatically escalated both its development and usage, primarily due to the enormous energy required to train AI models. Compared to traditional data center activities, AI tasks consume significantly more power. For instance, processing a query through ChatGPT uses 10 times more energy than a standard Google search, as noted by David Porter, a vice president of the Electric Power Research Institute. Currently, AI consumes 10 to 20% of the energy used by data centers in the US, a figure expected to rise substantially in the future. This trend underscores the pressing need for more energy-efficient approaches in AI development to manage its increasing environmental impact. In 2023, AI data centers consumed 460 terawatt-hours of electricity, which is almost equivalent to Japan's total electricity use. The International Energy Agency predicts this could be doubled by 2026, and Goldman Sachs research estimates that it could increase by 160% by 2030. This increased demand could lead to a 3 to 4% increase in the percentage of overall power consumed by data centers worldwide by the end of the decade. In the US, data centers could increase their share of the total electricity load from over 4% to 9%. The increase of energy consumption has been intensified by fierce competition among leading tech firms striving to develop increasingly potent generative AI models. Recent studies indicate that the computational power needed to train these models is doubling every 9 months, showing no sign of deceleration. Consequently, the IEA forecasts that within 2 years, data centers could consume energy equivalent to that of Sweden or Germany. In a related concern, researchers at UC Riverside have projected that global AI demand may lead data centers to consume more than 1 trillion gallons of fresh water by 2027. Despite these staggering figures, the exact energy consumption of many AI models remains opaque. So Sasha Lucchioni, she says, For the longest time, companies like Google and Meta were pretty transparent, up until ChatGPT came out, quite honestly. She's an AI researcher and the climate lead at the AI platform Hugging Face. That's the name, Hugging Face. And she says in the last year and a half, they've gotten a lot more secretive about data sources, training time, hardware, and energy. The sharp rise in energy consumption poses a serious challenge to the climate commitments previously made by major tech companies before the AI boom. For instance, in 2020, Google established a goal to operate entirely on carbon-free energy 24/7 by 2030. Concurrently, Microsoft also pledged in the same year to achieve carbon negative within a decade. But last year, Microsoft took a massive step backward in that regard by increasing its greenhouse gas emissions by 30%, mostly due to its ambitious AI pursuits. Microsoft President Brad Smith told Bloomberg in 2020, "We unveiled what was called our carbon moonshot. That was before the explosion in artificial intelligence. So in many ways, the moon is 5 times as far away as it was in 2020, if you just think of your own forecast for the expansion of AI and its electrical needs." Also, Microsoft, a major investor in OpenAI, has allocated over $10 billion in recent quarters towards expanding its cloud computing capabilities, with plans to double its data center capacity. In Goodyear, Arizona, where water scarcity is a concern, Microsoft's data centers are projected to consume upwards of 50 million gallons of potable water annually. Certain areas are beginning to resist the construction of data centers. Dublin, for instance, currently has a de facto moratorium on new data centers due to concerns that they already consume nearly a fifth of Ireland's electricity. But as that's happening, there's other regions that are surging in data center production, such as in Northern Virginia. There's a place called Data Center Alley, and it's just outside Washington, D.C. But the traditional residential areas, they're swiftly being rezoned for industrial use so that they can accommodate these facilities. But there's a lot of opposition from local people. And clustering data centers together in the same locations with strong power supplies and established infrastructure, they drive it by cost effectiveness for the companies. So Ian Lovejoy, a Republican state delegate in Virginia, he emphasizes that data centers have become the primary concern voiced by constituents. Beyond issues affecting quality of life such as noise and traffic, local politicians and residents are increasingly alarmed about the impact on electricity and water availability. There's also an apprehension that taxpayers may bear the cost of infrastructure expansions, such as new power lines necessitated by data center growth. Ian Lovejoy says, "Today there isn't enough power generation capacity or transmission capacity to fuel the data centers that are in the pipeline. Everyone's just kind of gambling that we will build up the infrastructure and everything will be fine. But if the data centers outpace power generation, you could see blackouts and a real constrained power situation." Among the 8,000 data centers worldwide, approximately 1/3 are located in the United States of America, with about 16% in Europe and around 10% in China. According to estimates from China Water Risk, data centers in China alone consumed around 1.3 billion cubic meters of water annually. This amount is nearly double the volume of water used by the entire city of Tianjin, which serves 13.7 million residents for household and service purposes. The companies responsible for consuming substantial energy assert that they are actively pursuing solutions. Many proponents of AI argue that their technology will play a pivotal role in addressing climate change, particularly by enhancing efficiency. For example, in 2016, Google announced that its DeepMind AI had contributed to reducing energy consumption for data center cooling by up to 40%. Efficiency advancements in chip hardware, such as NVIDIA's recent release of GPUs with 25% lower energy consumption compared to previous models, have the potential to significantly reduce overall energy usage. However, there is a concern articulated by experts like Lucioni about the Jevons paradox. It's named after a 19th century economist, and he observed that as steam engines became more efficient, coal consumption in Britain actually rose. The paradox suggests that increased efficiency may paradoxically lead to higher utilization of resources. Lucioni explains, The more efficient a resource becomes, the more people will tend to use it. This phenomenon implies that while hardware improvements can cut energy consumption per unit, the overall demand for computational power could still rise, potentially offsetting the gains made through efficiency alone. But industry insiders argue that they are at the forefront of the energy transition by driving the development of renewable energy sources, particularly in wind, solar, and nuclear power. However, many new data centers still rely heavily on fossil fuels, primarily because the transition to renewable energy sources takes time to implement on a large scale. Paul Prager, CEO of TeraWulf, a Bitcoin mining company expanding into AI, explains, "Unfortunately, many renewables cannot meet the demand of high-speed computing during their needs for consistent and high-quality energy." He emphasizes that establishing new power plants to meet these demands isn't instantaneous. Prager anticipates that in the near term, over the next 3 to 4 years, local energy costs may increase as the industry navigates this transition period. Regulatory measures appear to be gaining traction. Singapore introduced a sustainability standard for data centers in tropical regions last year, while the European Commission has taken steps toward regulating data centers sustainably across the EU. In the United States, Senator Ed Markey from Massachusetts introduced a bill in February aimed at studying the environmental impacts of AI. Additionally, the House Committee on Energy and Commerce held a hearing in June specifically addressing the energy usage that AI technologies have. These developments suggest a growing recognition and response to the environmental concerns posed by AI technologies worldwide. Lucioni says, Transparency is currently our main hurdle because many people don't realize the environmental impacts of AI, and not only consumers but lawmakers and companies. When we establish transparency and start having a little bit more information, then we can start trying to regulate. My name is Britt with Eco Resource Care. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments below. And if you've ever wondered about solutions for the problems facing the electric grid, then watch the next video about how a conductive brick is making an impact in the area of energy storage.